You know, when you watch a live action Japanese movie and in the intro of that movie you see a bunch of manga panels of characters that are in this movie and you're like, is this based off of a manga? And then you go and actually read the manga and you find out that all the characters for some reason looks like adults even though they're 17 years old. Case in point. But then you actually keep reading and you read and you read and you just can't stop, and you figure out, why can't I stop reading this damn manga? And then you find out it's one of those mangas. You know which manga I'm talking about, the ones that the denizens of the interwebs call peak, like Climber, like Ajin, like Berserk, those types of mangas. They're not all in the same genre, but you know what I'm talking about. The art is just pristine. The character writing is insanely good for some weird reason. That is one of these mangas. This manga is called Out. Now, Out is a very simple name. It is a name that fits with the theme of this manga, where you are going to be out. It is meant to be an expression of being out of any group that you're a part of. So if you were to commit a crime, you're out of society. If you were to go against the rules of your group, you're out of your gang, so on and so forth. It's sort of an expression used to mean that someone is out of this group, dead, alive, stuff like that, right? And that is exactly the exemplification of what Out is really about. Being out, an outsider, an outcast. And the main character is exactly that. This is what I love about this manga. It is able to write a main character that simultaneously is part of this group and is not, right? And even gives his reasoning as to why he's not joining this group. Obviously he has practical reasonings, but the personal reasoning as well is the more common one, the one that sticks to his character the most. And as you keep reading, you realize this writer loves to drag some fights out. Well, I say drag, but in reality he is detailing everything, because some fights go on for chapters. You're just reading one chapter after the next, and then the next, and then the next, and it's just the same fight, the exact same fight for like what, 20-ish chapters, because then he does a backstory, and in that backstory you get to see what the characters who are fighting each other, who they are, what they're about, what are their motivations, what are all their aspirations, why are they fighting in the first place, and why they have this sort of relationship. It is amazing. This writer even has the balls to have a character who's clearly in the wrong be able to defend himself, and almost turns out to be right. If those who are reading Out know what I'm talking about, if you read the later chapters of Out, there is a particular character, right? A glasses wearing dude named Rakuzaki Kai. This guy is downright diabolical. He is evil. The shit that he does with how weak he is insane. And this man clearly did something so horrendous to the main character, right? Clearly, he even in his own head, he's saying that, oh shit, I've been found out. I don't know how, but I've been found out. Good God, I'm screwed. But then he turns it around. He makes it about the main character. He turns every single argument, every single accusation that is thrown towards himself, he puts it all back on the main character. This is one of my favorite sections that I've read recently. While I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, I'm annoyed, because he is actually right. He can't argue that, and it would make sense if there was no evidence. And I'm like, no, this guy cannot get away. You gotta stop him. And then as the chapters kept going on, you eventually get to a point where, oh, there is evidence. Now there's evidence, but it's like, oh, these two, you could have just told him to say that. But then until he brings hard evidence, then he's like, oh shit, there's nothing I can do now. Hard evidence as in him being caught in 4K on someone's phone telling somebody else to really commit that crime. Full on evidence for him giving those orders. And I was like, oh my God, that's a relief. But at the same time, it's so well built up. You get to see that these characters that present this evidence, they're in the background doing something, planning something, you don't know what, but then eventually once you get to this point, they reveal what they've been planning. And this is what I mean. His writing is immaculate. It is insane how detailed every single thing is in the story. Now, not everything is perfect. He spends way too long on backstories. For like 50-ish chapters, you are in a backstory of what happened with this gang in the past 2 years ago with the previous leader. You get to see the full story of what is happening. You even get to see a character that died in the past, but this particular character is very important because he's the one that's like sort of the glue holding everybody sane, and once he's gone, everybody goes insane. So this very important character, you never hear of him before this backstory. He's one of those type of things, and it's not a character that's sort of built up or remembered or even talked about in present day, so it makes it seem like he's not that important. But when you get to this backstory, you just see how important he is. And that's one of my gripes with this manga. There's a lot of characters that he introduces in the backstories that are not alive in the present day, but they're never mentioned in the present day until this backstory. Once this backstory comes out, then they start mentioning these characters, then they start talking about them, then they start reminiscing about these characters. And that's what I mean by him spending so much time in the backstories, because I believe as I was reading it, I was lucky enough to read this after those chapters have come out, but I read a note from one of the translators that were translating this manga. He says, oh my god, is that the main character? After 18 months they haven't seen the main character. There hasn't been a chapter about the main character. The last time we've seen the main character was 18 months ago, and I was just like, oh my god, that is true, because it has been a couple of chapters since I've seen the main character, and it is very annoying how long he spends in backstories. It's one of the reasons why I dropped this really old anime back in the day. It was about some sort of high school fighting, same thing, gangs and high school infighting and what have you, and the same reason why I dropped that anime is because they did like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes in present day, and they went to a backstory for the next 20 episodes, and this is like what, a 50 episode anime, so like 20 episodes of the backstory. I dropped it and it was still in the backstory at that time, so it's kind of a gripe I have towards stories like these. But other than that, when it comes to the art, the fighting style, the way he draws fights, the way he explains how fights actually work in street fights, how that different gangs have rules, is insane. And the rules, he keeps to them as to why they're not able to fight, why they don't do one-on-ones, and this whole war that's currently happening. It's not finished, as you can see. I'm at like the latest chapter 286 or something like that, and we're still in this war. It hasn't gone anywhere. We're still here. During this war, he was able to show both sides of their stories, have you even root for some of the characters that you didn't see until this war, that is technically the enemy in this war. You get to see their stories, their backstories, who they are about, their character, what is their motivations, is it actually worth it, are they correct? You're left with a question for yourself as the reader, who would you really root for? But it's clearly one side leaning, the main character's group. It's obviously leaning to that side, but it does make you think as you're reading, because you spend a lot of chapters and a lot of time with this other group. You even find out why this group is in this war in the first place, how this war even started, and there's still some details we don't know. Clearly, within the latest chapter, you find out that there is still something we don't know about the relationship between Rakuzaki Kai and the leader of this new group. We don't know their full relationship as to what had happened when they killed the previous leader. Yes, kill. It's a high school manga. They're killing each other. It's a high school manga. These are teenagers, okay? Some of them are just in adulthood. Some of them are just 18, but they would still be minors in Japan, so it doesn't really matter. They're still teenagers. It is the weirdest manga I've ever read. As I kept reading it, I thought this was finished. Like when I read Ajin and I finished it, Ajin was amazing, mind you. And when I finished it, I was like, okay, this is a really, really goddamn good manga. But then it was finished. I was glad by that. I was hoping there was more, but I was glad by that. But this is still going, and I don't know whether or not this is going to stay with that quality. It's really good right now, but if it keeps going, I don't know if we'll be able to stay with that quality. Because usually, time has always said that projects that just keep going for a very long time don't really do that well. One Piece is an exception, but projects that really go on for a very long time don't do really well. But I'm hoping it doesn't happen for this manga that is out.